influences the opinion of people through visual inspiration, it also stimulates the society by translating experiences through time and space. It's another edition of the Art Express. Welcome to the show. Today on Gallery, Core is pleased to present Kindred Spirit, a garden of the Accra Circle of Artists, featuring the works of 15 artists of the renowned Accra Circle of Exhibiting Artists. Now, the exhibition is curated by Ifeanyi Onyebucha. Let's take a look.
The Accra Circle of Exhibiting Artists is a very important group of artists that formed a group in 1985 in Enugu. It was made up of, at first, 13 artists from the then Enugu and Anambra states who felt that they needed a platform to exhibit and to encourage themselves in the absence of institutions and curators that could do that for them. And the group was set up by Professor Obiora Udechukwu and Professor Ella Natsui, who are also pioneer artists of the Nsukka School. The group of artists from Nsukka who explored the indigenous Uli art from Eastern Nigeria. So this exhibition today is actually the first time that the group will be exhibiting together since 2005. And next year will be the 40 years since the establishment of the group. But more importantly, the group is gathering today to celebrate one of their members, Ella Natsui, who just celebrated his 80th birthday in February. And we'll be marking 50 years since he came to Nigeria next year, February. The exhibition is also an opportunity to see how far the artists have come since their last exhibition and to show actually what made them a very important group. Not only were they pioneers in their respective practices, but they also pushed the boundaries of what is now contemporary Nigerian art, challenging themselves to explore their material, including those that are painters, as you will see, artists like Nsekak Essien, who push the boundaries of the two-dimensional surface of painting to create works that are in between painting and sculpture. And of course, Ella Natsui, who has been celebrated internationally for his contribution to sculpture and contemporary art.
My name is Menem Essien. So he was an experimental artist. He dabbled a lot in mixed media and experimental painting, like really expressive painting, a lot of colors on the canvas, on wood. His medium was majorly wood. I think his willingness to pursue his curiosity to the T, whatever he saw in his mind, he really didn't rest till he brought everything out.
My work, the underlying factor about my work is their uniqueness. Because you don't see them any other place. And that is what is making us to be driven for these 40 years of Accra, is the uniqueness that gives us the life to go ahead. 40 years and counting. The search for uniqueness is the trigger for my work. When you talk about ceramics, you talk about plates, teacups, and all that, but these are very far from them. These are more of aesthetics. or beautification and all that, even though it can be used in one way or the other, okay?
This is a wonderful exhibition called Kindred Spirits, which celebrates the famous Aka group. And the Aka group has been a very strong collective of artists who have all done extremely well. It was a group that was brought together by Professor Obiora Udechukwu and Professor Ella Natsui in, I think, in the 80s. And I'm so delighted because I've met all these old artists that, you know, I've been following, Bona, Obiora Nidi, you know. It's just so humbling, it's so wonderful that this exhibition has been curated by Ihiani of CCA. And we need to celebrate our heroes. You know, we can't forget, you know, the great heroes of our artistic history and legacy, and they paved the way for so many young talent today. And we must honor the root system of the art community and how we have, you know, exploded around the world. It's so wonderful when you look at art, when you look at music, when you look at dance, you know, but it has its roots in these collectives like the Byers Collective, the Hamatan Workshop Series, the Aka Group. You know, these were the places where talent was nurtured, and I'm just delighted that I have an opportunity.
The work you are looking at is called Thy Kingdom Come. Thy Kingdom Come. It's an interpretation of the situation we have found ourselves in terms of environmental abuse. Our forests are depleted, and when the trees are cut and dead, what are we going to do? The ozone layer is melted. And this is the symbol of our dead trees that used to be everywhere, give us oxygen. This is metal, this is wood. The wire that is twisting around the wood, the dead twig of wood, symbolizes the situation of the unfortunate relationship between metal and wood. In terms of bulldozers, chainsaw that cut down trees. If we are not careful, we might find ourselves in deserts all over the world. This circle symbolizes the globe and the problem we have created by ourselves.
So the show has taken a year in making, and it's called Kindred Spirits. And it was the Aka Circle of Artists that was formed in 1985 by Obiora Udechukwu and Ella Natsui, very historic artists that both have achieved international acclaim. And with them, there was this whole group. So it started in 1985 and went on till 2005. And these were all male artists in Nsukka.
to come, the Content Gallery, recently rebranded as Art Lab, presents In a Brown's African Splendor exhibition featuring 40 watercolor masterpieces, 10 acrylic oils on canvas, pencil drawings and miniatures at the Adam and Eve Ikeja, Lagos.
On behalf of Shola, my wife, and Erelu, I'd like to declare this event open. In the name of the Father, and of the Son, and of the Holy Spirit. Amen.
African arts, amazing, beautiful pieces, you know, of everyday stories that have been interpreted into arts. And like everything African at the moment, African arts are being sought after globally around the world, just like African fashion, because they enable us to talk about our culture, they enable us to tell our stories. So for us in Africa, when we do creative things like, you know, arts or fashion or music, it enables us to tell our story. It enables us to create an identity for ourselves. And as one of the custodians of the African fashion culture, what I've seen here today is amazing. Those were the most interesting pieces for me, and I've spoken to the artist about doing a collaboration together, because as you might know, we have an Adire textile production and training hub in Ile-Ife, courtesy of His Imperial Majesty the Oni of Ife. So it would be nice to interpret some of the fashion statements that I saw in some of the pieces into real life and textiles.
I can only start by congratulating Adam and Eve. Usually we come to Christmas carol or with window shopping, and they've come up with another amazing, bright idea this year. And that is promoting, projecting African artists who are just as good as any masters you can find anywhere, namely Ine Brown, who is doing a solo show here today. And I'm so glad we've been referring to him as an African artist, because that's where it's all at this point in time. The world is revolving around Africa, and African art and culture and tradition is on the front burner of the world. And so for Adam and Eve to promote this concept is just apt. What most people didn't know, that the art is now making a U-turn back to Africa. It all started from here. If you go to Ile-Ife, the source of the Yoruba kingdom, you will realize that a lot of what is in in Greece, actually is in Ife, and it found its way all the way there. And of course, the Greek culture, architecture, columns took the world by storm, to Rome, to everywhere. And we all go there on tourism to look, to see. But you see, it's finding its way back to Africa, and we are not found wanting. We have Ine Brown and many more like that, and the Adam and Eve promoting it, so that the world will come back to Africa.
Now, generally, most art galleries are on the island. This is on the mainland, giving you access more easily than having to cross the bridge. Then, the collection, the Arts Lab, is actually broken into two. So you have the side that is for acquisition, so you come and look and you pick. Then the other side
is just for your aesthetic pleasure, just to appreciate the artists, just to appreciate their work and enjoy yourself. So what we've created on that side is an oasis of calm. So when you just feel stressed, and there's so much to stress you, so you can come in here and feel the stress drain away. And then maybe in the process, acquire 2 pieces, 3 pieces, as you like it. You can easily relate to it. It is an Africa that might disappear, or there might be a rebirth, and then you have Africa's splendor rising again. So this is Africa's splendor. Look at this artwork. You see the woman balancing her child. Look at the swagger. She's carrying the bread, she's answering the phone, but look at the swagger. So in spite of a difficult terrain, you can see the happiness. And this is proper women entrepreneur. In the past, the women on this job could educate their children. They could pay school fees. More difficult, almost impossible now, but they did it. And those are the things that I think Ini Brown puts on your table. You can see these are things that might disappear, like I said. We don't know. But the splendor might rise again, and then we will have it again. The pride in things that are African.
These are mostly watercolors, and that's my strong point. I also do acrylic, I do oil, but these are mostly watercolors. I'm renowned more as a watercolorist. This one, Laundry Day. The concept here is all about the laundry. She's washing on a normal day, but the idea is to make it more interesting. Let's look at the lady washing. I don't know what you see about her. So that's the idea. Make it more interesting. You understand? So this catches people quickly than just painting a normal, person washing. And then my colors too. I like vibrant colors. I enjoy vibrant colors. So I make it look more interesting with the colors. Otherwise, they would have just been maybe dull or unattractive. So those are some of my strong points.
Well, Ini Brown is a well-known artist, at least in the artistic world. He's a well-known name, and we are having him here today to, as it were, the gallery is rebranding from the content gallery that it was before to Art Lab. Okay, so Ini Brown's show is the first that is we're hosting as the Art Lab. All right, he's a friend of the house. He's exhibited here before, and I'm sure, as you can see, his works are amazing. They speak to different strata of society. And this particular one, African Splendor, is actually a celebration of the African culture. So he has focused his energies, his painting energies, in depicting different, let me call them, everyday life of the typical African. So that's what the exhibition is all about. And like I said, we're rebranding the content gallery into the Art Lab.
And it's marking the formal launching of the Art Lab Gallery. It used to be called Content, and we've had the exhibitions since 2017. We've had about 5 exhibitions. We've featured about 37 artists, including masters and tomorrow's masters, yesterday's masters, today's masters. So now, on that content, so we now thought, well, we must have a permanent gallery. And then, so Art Lab was established for that purpose. And we decided that it should be a solo exhibition because Edie Brown does have some works here already, but having decided that it will be a solo exhibition, we decided that it should be him that will do the first one. And it will be a nice way to herald the Art Lab that's coming alive today formally with the Edie Brown Expo.
Welcome back. Art Pantheon Gallery presents The Way We Were as Femi Morakiyo invites viewers to journey through a selection of memory, identity, and cultural renaissance. Now, this exhibition is a profound exploration of the past, reflecting on how our histories shape our present and inform our future.
My art is inspired by personal history, my cultural heritage, and the places and the experiences I've had while growing up. It is called The Way We Were. It talks about my personal history, how life was way back in the 70s and in the 80s. I was born in the 80s, so my art resonates with the history of Nigeria and Africa as a whole. What I aim to achieve is to preserve our cultural and socio-cultural heritage in general. Things have changed now. The internet has taken over everything. So life was simple way back. So I tried to bridge the gap between the history and the present with my works.
I would say that I'm really proud of Femi Morakiyo. He has done an amazing job in bringing about this exhibition the way we were. You know, it's a nostalgic feeling. I myself am very nostalgic. I love to remember memories about when I was younger, growing up in the early 90s and in 2000s. And those are some of the things he has shown us in this exhibition. You know, things like the ringing phone, the pots we used to use then, the irons, Omo, and some of the other things that we used to use. It's so nostalgic. Like behind me, there's a woman who is currently, she's doing the stamp, and the iron is showing there, the irons that we used to use before. And so many of the other artworks, they are amazing. It takes you back to that nostalgic feeling of the memories that were created then, and the cultural heritage of Nigerian and being an African. So it's really, I love it very much.
The exhibition is fantastic. It actually reminds the audience of post-colonial experience, how people were living. If you look at the exhibition, you'll find certain elements that we will not necessarily find in today's living, like the clock, the utensils, the way they paint the interior of the buildings of the house, or people's preferences. So it shows how people were living before now, before the millennia, before the 21st century. So it's a reflection of that, and I feel that it did a good job in reflecting this way of living.
At first, I came here because Morak Femi, an artist I've followed over the years, so I know his work. So I came to see if there was something new to look at, and I'm very impressed. There's a lot to see. There's a lot to learn from, basically. I hate to answer this question, but I tell you, nothing is really new. Nothing is new. What is new is actually the ability to think differently. So what he's done here is that he's using surfaces to explain how he's thinking currently. He might not be thinking things like this in 10 years from now. So basically, it's nice to look at them, look at the old, the things that are old, antique, but it's all nice. It's his body of thinking at the moment. So each work reminds us of what he's thinking about and what he wants us to think about, which is authentic.
It's an exhibition that drives me memory lane, and I think it does that for everybody. In the face of everything, a lot of us losing our identity in recent times. I think Femi decided to take everybody down memory lane and take us back to where we were, where we really started from. And you'll find out that a lot of people have lost their identity, even in terms of dressing, in terms of culture. Everything is totally gone. You practically have this younger generation who do not even understand some things, or they have not even seen. If you look at the props behind me, you realize that a lot of people who haven't set their eyes on some of these props. And these were what we all grew up with: the megaphone, the clock, the long clock we call agwelepo. I mean, the dishes, the sewing machine, the setup, everything was all really decent and nice and lovely. And I don't think that we should trash this culture. It's our identity. This is who we are. And this is where we were. And here we are today. We should be able to do an analysis of where we are and where we're going. If we're not careful and we don't return back to where we were, I'm afraid we might not get to where we are going. So it's like a wake-up call for us to actually understand where we're coming from, to understand what our culture is. So many people have lost this culture. A lot of younger people don't even know. They can't even speak their language. You have a lot of Yoruba kids, Igbo kids, Hausa kids who can't speak their language. It's really heartbreaking. If they can't speak the language, how can they understand what the home setting should be? So everybody has an apartment that does not portray anything about their culture. Because again, thanks to religion has done us a lot of damage as well, telling us that our culture is fetish, our culture is diabolic. So we really need to find a balance. We need to go back memory lane and really sit down where we were and think about where we are today and where we're going.
Creativity is inventing, experimenting, growing, taking risks, breaking rules, making mistakes, and having fun. And I'm sure we've explored all that on the show today. So keep it with us, same time, same station next week. Until then, keep living in the arts.